Well, I know Kevin Williamson was adamant that Stu was dead, right? Like, I don't think he wanted Stu to be alive, and he's even mentioned that in the past. So, because of his involvement in this, I think that does kind of nix the idea that Stu is alive.
Well, he also contradicts himself because years
Yeah.
ago, we know that Scream 3, his original idea was that Stu was behind it all. So it's
True.
like maybe the guy's doing a bait and switch, but I would have believed that until they announced Lillard's involvement, and then I was like, no, there's no way.
Lillard wants to he adamantly wants to come back as the killer. He's literally stated that so many times. So I think there is a little small chance that he could be alive, but I'd say 90% he's dead. Who knows?
That would be different for Scream. I mean, that's the thing that a lot of people complain about with the Scream franchise is that, the whodunit element is really cool, but also it makes like every sequel just sort of feel like the same. So, I mean, what if they did something crazy, like we find out that Dewey getting killed in Scream 5, that wasn't little Mikey Madison or whatever? Because there's no way like a 5-foot-tall, 98-pound high schooler could like pick up a grown man, gutting them. So it's like, what if we find out that was Stu or something? They bring back that whole cult of Stu sort of thing. And so we see, I don't know, flashback, whatever, probably not going to do that, but I feel like they've got to do something different here with Scream 7. Either, maybe there is a killer that we know about, or maybe they do like the cliffhanger kind of two-parter, and we know we're going to get a Scream 8, and we don't know all of the killers' identities at the end of Scream 7, which that would just make all the channels on YouTube even more successful.
I've stated that so many times. I want them to leave us on a cliffhanger. The Scream franchise, the whodunit slasher. I mean, the ultimate thing that you can do with a whodunit slasher in a franchise is leave the audience hanging, begging, frothing at the mouth for the next movie. And for some reason in slasher movies, they always feel like they got to put everything, zip it up with a nice bow at the end of the movie. But I honestly think not every fan wants that. I do think that we want question marks at the end of movies. As long as the meal was satisfying along the way, if you wanted to leave us with a big cliffhanger for the next movie, I think a lot of people would be really excited, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I campaigned hard as hell to nobody, but I campaigned hard as hell
to the mirror.
Leading up to Scream 6, like, let's do it. Let's change the formula and let's not reveal the killer at the end of this movie. Let's let Ghostface get away, and I think that honestly would just pay huge dividends for, I think, the longevity of the franchise. I think you have to switch it up a little bit at this point. And I mean, who knows? Maybe Scream 7 will switch it up in a lot of different ways. But the tried and true formula of like the Scooby-Doo, the Scooby-Doo ending always, like I do want to see something different. And I believe, and I want to ask you guys, because I think we would all agree with this. Had that been the end of Scream 6, we don't get Ghostface unmasked at all, and we go into the movie, we would have all probably walked away being like, dude, is it Stu? Like, is it Stu? Because like, why wouldn't they unmask? This has got to be somebody that's been a part of this for a while. And I think that really would have helped with the building the hype as well. I mean, obviously didn't need it for a lot of reasons, but yeah, I don't know. I want to see that. Don't unmask him, especially because they're talking about this is the start of a new trilogy. There's reporting that Scream 8 is in early development right now. So like,
I've heard that too.
If this is the start of a new trilogy, don't show him. Don't reveal Ghostface.
Or if it's multiple ghost faces, then we get a reveal on one, and then we find out like the last bit of the movie is another phone call, and then the movie cuts to black. So it's like you can sort of have your cake and eat it too a little bit there. And I would have liked Scream 6 a lot better if they handled the reveal. For me, just put that one in last place in my ranking just by itself, right there.
I think that's the less satisfying thing about Scream theories and discussing Screams, because there's just way too many possibilities. Like you literally have probably, I don't know, 25 different outcomes that you could have in a Scream movie with 18 characters,
Yeah.
So it's hard. I mean, I don't want to say it's not hard to get excited, but it just feels like because there's so many different choices, that there's a chance that you might be a little underwhelmed with what happens at the end, because what can you do? Unless you pull out the ultimate big thing and make Stu alive and be the killer, and that's why I do think even the people that that hate the idea that Stu is alive, and they don't even know this about themselves. But I think if it did happen, and they're sitting in the theater, and the movie has delivered up to that front, and they've set up the payoff, right? Because if Stu's alive, you got to set up the payoff. You can't just pull it out for no reason whatsoever. If you set up the payoff, I think they would probably scream louder than the people that wanted it to happen. They'd be over the moon, because finally it's something crazy. It's big, and it's something different, and it kind of sets things up for Scream 8. Like, oh shit, now what if Stu's alive and he vanishes, he lives, you know?
And I know a lot of people love Scream 4, and it's my least favorite, but that's not the point here. I would make the argument that I think the last surprising, I think truly like satisfying reveal was Scream 3. And regardless of your feelings on Scream 3, that was set up really well. Not only did they make you believe that Roman was dead, but Roman didn't even really play a large role in that movie. He had a couple scenes, so like I don't even think he was on anybody's list of suspects. And then when he's dead in the basement, you're like, all right, well, that guy's dead. And so not only was that a little unexpected, but then the backstory. A lot of people hate the retcon there. I don't necessarily call it a retcon, because just because Stu and Billy didn't mention that doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Right.
But I also loved that he was a solo Ghostface killer. I thought that was really, really cool. And maybe it'd be cool to go back to that too. Just one killer. And I'd like that, especially if it's personal. I would like it to be personal. And I think it's going to have to be, because Sydney's back, and this is going to tie back to Sydney somehow. You know, the theory's going around that it could be Leslie Mocker, Stu's sister. It could be a number of things. I want it to be personal, but yeah, Scream 3 was the last one that I was like, wow, that ending, like I really dug that. I really liked that.
That was the best part of the movie for sure for me. You know,
and to me, Scream 3 gets better and better every time I watch it.
It does. It really does. And it's really garnering more, like there's more fans coming around to Scream 3, I think, than any other sequel in the franchise. You know, it's still not my favorite, but I've actually come around to Scream 2 the most out of all of them. But I think most people, Scream 2 is a crowd pleaser anyway. I think most people like it, and I was just kind of late to the party. But yeah,
that
Scream
car
3,
chase scene.
love it. Yeah.
Well, and you know, one of the reasons why I love Thanksgiving so much is they were able to do the whodunit kind of thing. To me, it reminded me more of like My Bloody Valentine and The Prowler than like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. But I love that you get to do your whodunit killer reveal, and then there's like the cliffhanger of the killer being alive. So Thanksgiving 2 could just be that very same killer and a totally different type of slasher movie, which is awesome that they don't have to do a whodunit. So yeah, it would be really cool if Scream they got to shake up the formula somehow, like you guys were saying.
I think this could be the bloodiest Scream. I think I heard that somewhere too. Somebody stated that one of the kills in this movie is like next level. Like we've never seen this. So
Mason Gooding, I believe Mason Gooding said that. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, that's right. You're right.
With 18 characters, we better have a high body count.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah.
The body count could be the biggest out of the entire franchise.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say, love the fact that Mason Gooding is coming back. I honestly could care less for Mindy. It's nothing personal. I just don't think the character's ever really, I haven't latched on to Mindy. Like it's just, I feel like they've tried too hard to make her a Randy. Whereas like, I've really, really liked Chad to the point where, after Scream 5, I didn't really care. After Scream 5, I was like, whatever. This is the crop of new ones. You know, they're all cannon fodder. And then we got to Scream 6, and when he's getting treated like a pincushion, I've told the story before. I really grew to like him in that movie. Yeah. And as soon as they come out and start stabbing him, I threw my arms up in my theater chair, lost my phone between the seats, and I literally, I said out loud, I was like, fuck. Like, and my brother I was like, bro, I started to like Chad. This is bullshit. So I really liked him.
To live. Yeah.
He's a charming performer.
Yeah, he was the one guy that I was angry that he did live just because of the way he died. Like, I mean, they pretty much dotted the I and crossed the T on his death. And so I was like, there's okay, he's dead, you know. And then when they pull him out on the gurney, I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But he's the new Dewey. I fucking love it. Let's go.
Yeah. Like, but I do love the character, you know, and he was great in Hard Eyes too. So,
but does it scare you guys too that they're gonna kill him in this one? Because like, how often do you see?
They probably are.
Make it for 3.
You don't make it that far.
Yeah.
He's gonna be the new Kincaid.
Yeah. I said something to Christian last night, and I said, you know what I want, Christian? I want Liev Schreiber. I want Cotton to be the killer in this one. He didn't die in Scream 3.
Yeah.
He's been behind it. We find out he actually did kill Maureen. Let's get weird. Like,
I love Cotton.
Yeah, he had a dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% Cotton.
Yes, that's right.
I guess we can move on to the next news story. Let me pull it up over here. You want
Lee, I'll always remember there was somebody got into it with you about Chad on, I don't know if it was YouTube or Twitter or whatever, and you responded, you were like, Chad gets stabbed 60 times on Friday and 60 times plus 2 on Sunday, or whatever the heck it was. It was, you know.
No, it's true. I mean, people argue about Stu being alive, or Stu can't live. I mean, it's so easy to counter that with Chad. I'm sorry. If Chad gets to live, Stu can live. I'm sorry.
But I also felt like when that movie came out and people were up in arms about Chad's fate in that movie, I was like, really, guys? Like, we're gonna act like Scream has been super realistic this entire time. Yeah. Like, Dewey should have been dead in like the first movie. Like, well, maybe not the first, but definitely the second movie. Like, come on. Like, at this point, it's Scream. Whatever.
Yeah, getting stabbed in your abdomen is a very, very dangerous thing.
It is.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the one genre where suspension of disbelief is pretty much, you can get away with just about anything in horror, even if you're a mortal human being. People will give you a pass because they just want, if they like the character, they'll give you a pass, and if it's essential to the story, that's just the way horror is. So that's why the whole Stu thing always kind of threw me for a loop, because it's the one character. I can't think of any other character outside of Stu where people really lose their minds at the idea of him being alive. And to take it even further, it's Matthew Lillard. It's like the most likable fucking guy on the planet.
I'm still waiting for Scooby-Doo 3. I don't give a shit how old they are. We need to do Scooby-Doo 3, damn it. Like, I'm done. I'm done waiting. But I think I saw that play out in real time, though. For me personally, man, it's like Mindy on the subway. I was like, she's dead. Like, she does not live through that. And
that's what I thought too.
But that made me mad. But then Chad, I was like, no, he's alive. Duh, of course. Like, Chad's of course alive. I like Chad.
I was like, how could they not kill off Gail in that movie? I was like, I thought she was dead. And I was like,
really
believe. Shit.
I believe the initial. I think they were going to. I don't know if someone got cold feet or what, but I think they were going to.
Well, pretty much all the attempts in real life, for part 6, in real life, I think every single attempt they would have died. Gail would have died. Mindy would have died. Chad would have died twice. But they let everybody live for the most part.
Well, hello there. You just watched an outrageous clip from the Hit the Bricks podcast. I really hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more clips, you can click here or you can click here. And you can just have yourself a ball, all right? And also follow the Hit the Bricks podcast on Spotify as well. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.